Hi guys, welcome to Cheryl's Home Cooking. So let's get started. Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to Cheryl's Home Cooking, and today what I'm going to show you is my homemade gumdrops. So let's get started. So I have a 13 by 9 baking pan. I'll place some parchment paper in my baking pan. To help hold down this parchment paper on my baking pan, I'll place some tape on the parchment paper and just stick it to the pan. So I'll do it to all four sides. So now I'll place this off to the side. Now in my saucepan, I'll place 2 cups of sugar. These homemade gumdrops are really good. A little bit more. So now I have my 2 cups. I'll place it in my saucepan. To the 2 cups of sugar, I'll place 1 1/3 cups of applesauce. There's 1. And 1/3. Making sure to get all the applesauce out. And I'll be using 2 boxes of the 3-ounce Jell-O. I'm using the blackberry and the berry blue. So I'll place them both inside. Oh yeah, that blue looks pretty. Now I'll be using 2 envelopes of the gelatin. It's the Knox brand, so you can use whatever brand you want, but it's just the original gelatin and it's unflavored. So I'll place 2 packages in here. There's a total of 4 that comes in here. So in the pot it goes. To 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. Now I'll put this on my burner. So now I'll turn my burner onto medium. You want to boil this for 1 minute. After the 1 minute is up, that's when I'll pour it into my baking dish where I have my parchment paper. So you want to keep mixing it because you don't want it to burn. You'll need some extra sugar to roll the gumdrops in, because once you cut your gumdrops into either squares, or you can use a cookie cutter, whatever shape you want to roll the gumdrops in sugar and then place them back on the parchment paper and let them dry out a little bit. That's what it looks like, the berry blue and the black cherry mixed together. So I'll take my spatula and scrape the sides. Just keep stirring it because you don't want it to burn. This is a nice treat for Valentine's Day. Nothing like homemade candy. And I love these homemade gumdrops. They're really sweet. When you do cut them into squares or use your cookie cutter, make sure you dip it in hot water so that this way here, when you press it through, it'll come off nice and clean. Because it does have a tendency to stick to the knife or the cookie cutter. And you want to make sure if you're using a cookie cutter that you want to keep your shape. That's why I like using squares. It's simple and easy, and just take the knife and cut them. So once it comes to a boil, boil it for 1 minute. I just want to keep scraping the sides there because the sugar has a tendency to burn. So I want to make sure that everything's all incorporated and it doesn't burn. But see how quick and easy this is to make homemade gumdrops? I like mixing the two flavors together with the Jell-O because it really tastes good. You can use whatever flavors you like. I mean, you could even mix lemon and lime. That would taste good. It's starting to simmer just around the edges, so now I have to wait till it comes to a boil. Once you pour this in your baking pan on top of your parchment paper, you'll put this in your fridge for about 3 hours or until it's firm before you start to cut it. This goes very quickly in my house. I'll put on my glove because the handle's getting a little bit warm. So now it's to a boil, so now I'll time it for 1 minute. It only takes a few ingredients to make homemade gumdrops. I like making it around Valentine's Day. All right, the minute is up. So now I'll take the mixture and pour it into my pan. That's perfect. See how good that came out? So now I'll place it in my fridge for about 3 hours or until nice and firm. So into the fridge it goes. See how quick and easy that was? So now for cleanup duty. See how nice they firmed up? So a few more minutes in the fridge and then I'll be slicing up my homemade gumdrops. So now I took my gumdrop mixture out of my baking dish. I have a glass of hot water. I'll place some sugar in my baking dish. So I put my knife in the hot water. You slice through it. So I'm making squares. If your knife seems to be sticking, just stick it back in the hot water. One more. So now I'll slice down. I place my spatula in the hot water. You'll pick them up, place them in the sugar, and you want to let them dry because they're still very sticky. So once they're coated with the sugar, I'll just place it off to the side and just keep adding sugar in here so that the gumdrops don't stick together. So I'm coating the sides that I also cut, so everything's all coated. You can see where it's not coated. So just put the sugar on it, place it off to the side. Now I'll take my knife, cut some more. It's very sticky. Alrighty. I'll put my spatula in the cup. I picked up more squares. I'll place it in the sugar. Once they're coated with the sugar, they're not as sticky. But like I said, you want to get all the sides. So see it all coated. I'll give this one a try. Really good. So now I'll take the ones that are coated with sugar, put them on my plate to dry. And like I said, you can make them into any shape you want. Use a cookie cutter. I just cut them into squares. So I'm just taking it and putting the sugar all over it, then placing it on another plate to dry. They're just really, really sticky. So I'm just taking some sugar and sprinkling it on top, and then I'll roll it in the sugar. You really need this parchment paper, otherwise you'd have one heck of a time trying to get these gumdrops out. Makes quite a bit too. Nothing like homemade gumdrops for Valentine's Day. And once all the sugar's on there, just let them air dry. This recipe does make quite a bit. So I'll put a piece of parchment paper on top of those and start another row. Now here's a nice looking gumdrop. I guess I'll eat that one. So good. The last few. Tear it apart, put it in the sugar. Now don't they look good? So as long as you coat them with sugar really good, they won't stick to one another. And these gumdrops are really good. So see, they started out like this on the parchment paper, and I just kept dipping my spatula in hot water. Then I placed them in my baking dish with some sugar. Make sure the sugar is on all sides of these gumdrops. And that's what they look like once it's finished. I want to wish everybody a beautiful Valentine's Day. So thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Cheryl's Home Cooking and watching me make my homemade gumdrops. Give them a try. They're really good. I'll see you guys next video. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Cheryl's Home Cooking. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye-bye.